Papa, good morning. Happy Monday. We're doing a bloody mini lesson today. It's called How Do You Get Your Freedom? We're doing a lesson on freedom, perfect one for Monday morning. This one's going to be a good one. We're going to crush fantasy. By the way, if you've been following me for a little bit, you might realize the theme of all my lessons. 1, crush fantasies. 2, get grounded in reality and set some actual goals, not illusions and delusions of the future. And then 3, take action, get results. If you have some kind of goal for freedom that involves freedom, please watch your lesson. If you know anyone who's got the freedom goal, tell them the lesson is happening here in a couple hours. Freedom! Where do I get my freedom? I want my freedom! Talk to people every single day from every country who say, I want my freedom. Mini lesson starts now. So I say to these people, what kind of freedom do you want? What are you talking about freedom? They say, well, I want to be free from work. I don't want to have to rely on my boss. And then I say, that's fucking easy. Here's what you do. I'll have you free from your boss within 24 hours. Go to the kitchen, get the biggest knife you got, take it down to your bank, start waving it around at people and say, give me all your money, I want my freedom. Then what will happen is the cops will show up, they'll put you in handcuffs, they'll put you in the back of the car and they'll take you down to jail and you won't have to go to work the next day. And you'll do some court and shit and then you'll probably have to fucking stay there for a little bit. You're free from your boss. You don't have to go to work. They'll give you an income. They'll give you an income. They'll feed you. They'll house you. You might not have to pay rent. You don't have to pay food. You get an income. Your expenses will drop. You're free. And when I suggest this, then usually the person I'm talking to says, well, that's not free. I'm in jail. I won't be free in jail. Exactly right. In life, you will have freedoms and you will have dependencies. You'll always have freedoms and dependencies. They are balanced and conserved throughout your entire life in the physical plane as a human being on the planet. You won't get rid of one of them. If you have a financial dependency on a boss, and then you go and start a business, and you don't need your boss, that's real neat, but guess what you're dependent on? You will never, ever, ever change the form of a freedom without also simultaneously changing the form of a new dependency. You'll always have both. As a new freedom emerges, a new dependency emerges. They're always there. If you're trying to get rid of dependency and have true freedom, you're chasing a fantasy. You can't get it. You're violating a law of the universe. You'll always have both. So what about the lottery winner who wins the $20 million and puts it in a bank and gets an income? You think he doesn't have dependencies? Well, he's dependent on the bank not to lose his money. If there's another 1929, they do a run on the banks and they realize that everyone goes and withdraws their money. There's not enough cash to actually give everyone the money. Well, he's in a little bit of trouble then, isn't he? And he knows that he got it through luck. He didn't get it through service. He didn't get it through skill. He got it through luck. And he knows that if it goes, he'll never get it back. And that stresses him. Go and read the interviews of all the lottery winners, the big lottery winners throughout history. They don't win the lottery and then, take a deep breath and I'm finally free. They don't ever think like that. They all of a sudden have a new dependency on their own discipline, not to go and blow it all in 2 years like most of them go and do. If they don't have financial discipline before the 20 million, they won't have it when they get it. If they can't depend on their own discipline, they will get rid of that money quick. It doesn't last long. They give it to family, friends through guilt and shame and they want to give it away. They've all of a sudden got a new dependence on their social network and their family structure to do the right thing by them. When you make 20 million, your friends are going to have their hands out. Your wife could leave you and take half of it. This is not something that you have to depend on or rely on when you're piss poor or broke. When you get the 20 million and then win the lottery, you've got new dependencies, new freedoms, new dependencies. I'll give you another example. A lot of people here are 16, 17 years old who are dependent on their mum and dad driving them around. You could transcend that dependency and get the freedom of having your own car. But your net freedom didn't go up. It's balanced and conserved. You got more dependencies now. You got to depend on the freaking car not clapping out and breaking down. You got to do a bloody service and get new tyres. You got to depend on your own discipline now, not to do 200 k's in a school zone and get your license wiped out and have to go to court and lose your license for fucking 2 years. There's more dependencies. Please get this. There is no such thing on planet Earth as true freedom. You get the freedom when you die. As a human being in the physical plane, there is no true freedom. If you're hanging on to the delusional fantasy that there is such thing as true freedom and you can somehow achieve it, you will be chasing for the rest of time. It'll always be in the distance. The teenager gets a new car, now he's free. Nope. He hasn't got money to service the damn thing, he needs to get a job. Now he's free. Nope. I hate my boss, I need a business. Now I've got a successful business, I make money on my own terms. Now I'm free. It doesn't work like that. The more you chase one-sided fantasies and think that they're possible even though they're not, the more you'll subordinate to others and think that they have something that you don't. People think that I'm free. At least 10 times a week someone says they're going to fly to my house and they want me to mentor them. They think I'm just sort of playing Xbox or something all day and I've got all this free time. To empower yourself, to empower your life, it's not about getting rid of your dependencies. They're always going to be there. Empowerment is choosing the form that you want them to show up. Setting real goals, setting grounded goals that are actually achievable is to own both sides of that goal. Starting a business, you're going to have new dependencies, a lot of them. If you're living in la-la land and you think you're going to get a new form of freedom without a new form of dependency, when the dependency shows up, it'll sideswipe you, you'll hate on it, you'll judge it, and you won't be grateful for the new freedom. And that's when you get that peculiar phenomenon when someone who's so successful still ends up depressed and hating on themselves because they're comparing their life to a fantasy that's unachievable. Step 1, drop the fantasy of freedom without dependency. They're always going to be there, they're always going to be balanced and conserved. If you don't believe it, you could try and prove it yourself, and you'll waste years of your life. Step 2, understand the law of the one and the many. Dependency feels like pain. Freedom often feels like pleasure. We have the pleasure and the pain, they're balanced and conserved, they just show up in different forms all throughout your life. Because dependency feels like pain, it's wise to spread it over many sources. When you get the knife and you push it into your sort of soft gooey part here, it will fucking hurt. But if you get the pad and then fuck, this is kind of tricky with the thing, and then you get the knife and you push on the thing, it spreads the load. It hurts less. You can apply exactly the same pressure. The pressure can be balanced and conserved, but if you apply it through a little point, that's the one and that's the many. In life, we're either growing and radiating, radiation is going from the one to the many, or we're shrinking and gravitating, going from the many into the one. The masters of life aren't trying to shed their dependencies. They're just controlling the form that they show up and turning it from one into many, from their boss into their customers. From the point to the pad. When it's spread enough, when your dependencies spread out enough over enough different sources, you can literally lie on a bed of nails and feel pretty comfortable. This is the perception of freedom. When you empower yourself and you design and control exactly how your freedoms show up and how your dependencies show up, you feel free. But it's not true freedom. Because when you're lying on the bed of nails, you've got to remain humble to the nails. If they start dropping away, you'll end up in a lot of pain. So be grateful for your dependencies and your freedom. Don't try and get rid of one. It's futile. You're wasting time. You're wasting energy. Just master your life and control the forms that they show up, and you'll feel free. That's my freedom lesson. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Freedom, by the way, is one of the 40 topics that I've got so far that are going into my book of wisdom. I'm going to teach these little things. Snap up afternoon. We are doing Redo and mail time. We just went to the post box and we opened the mail from people sending us stuff. Trent, thank you for the note and thank you for the thing. We really appreciate it.
Gonna make me cry.
Very moving. We appreciate it, dude. Can't wait to see you at the ball. Snapper, good afternoon. This here is a vegan, organic carbonara. Oh my god, that's a Redo. Get yourself a